We have I said to Scott the other day on my weekly podcast, the rare Harvard Cornell back-to-back weekend. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of the Ivy League. Russ would probably know better. But obviously there's a day between, so it's not a traditional back-to-back. But getting ready for two games this week, two great challenges for us, two great opportunities for us to prove that we are different from the team we all saw on Saturday. Even though we played, I guess we're down three with 8.5 minutes to go at Yale, who obviously is a terrific opponent. I didn't think we played anywhere close to our potential. I didn't think we played to our identity, regardless of what the score may have said in those first 32 minutes. That's not the team we want to be. So, and what are some of the specifics? Defensive disruption, effort, 50-50 balls, rebounding. We that wasn't us. So Yale had a lot to do with it, but we have been hard at work since Monday, addressing some of the disappointments from Saturday, and our guys have responded beautifully. I'm excited for us to have a great opportunity Saturday against a Harvard team that has a lot of returning talent, and then obviously a terrific freshman.
Mike, I'll jump in with a couple here. As you look back at the Yale game, the last 11 minutes or so, specifically, like you mentioned, what went wrong? What are you working on from the end of that game specifically that can get you guys over the hump moving forward?
Yeah, so we got outscored 28-10 over the last 8 minutes of the game, 8:30 of the game. But again, Ian, I think it was issues that we'd like to see more consistent over the course of 40 minutes. Our turnovers, 14-4. We have 14, only forced 4. That is not a recipe for success. 46-26 points in the paint. That is not a recipe for success. Offensive rebounds surrendered, 13 for Yale. And then they, crushed us at the free throw line too, until the last couple minutes when we got to the line. But, it was, I've said all year for this team, we've got to be in single digit turnovers. We got to be in single digits and offensive rebounds surrendered. Add on to that you get outscored by 20 in the paint. And we just, we weren't tough enough. We weren't disruptive enough defensively. We're supposed to be a full court pressure team for 40 minutes. That starts 94 feet away. And yeah, it was just way too comfortable for them to only have 4 turnovers over the course of 40 minutes. Again, terrific team, really good guard play, but that's not us.
That said, with Keno last game, we saw the logo 3. He's now second all time in the program in scoring. What have you seen from him? And just to see him through his whole career rise up that list, what does that mean to you to coach him?
He's an incredible player. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to coach him. Grateful for every experience that we have had to this point and what we have ahead of us. Obviously the Ivy Defensive Player of the Year, Bez Mbang's, very worthy opponent, and I thought he did a really good job defending Keno, making things difficult for him. We got to do a better job as a staff, and we have to do a better job on the court, finding him and getting him more opportunities and getting him to be more aggressive. 12 field goal attempts is not enough for a player of Keno's talent. So we all know, his talent and his, how he leads this group, how we feed off of him, his playmaking. Every time he's in an action, he seems like he's got 2 defenders on him. So, he creates so much for us. He's the most unassuming, unselfish star that I've been around. And, he's going to lead us Saturday as we look to bounce back.
Mike, you had pretty good performance from Lindell on Saturday, both ends of the floor, seemed.
Lindell Arrow's been terrific. He just represents everything you want in a student athlete, embraces whatever is asked of him, makes the most of his opportunity. He's amongst a bunch of guys who really embody our culture of work and our culture of improvement and development. And you see the fruits of his labor here now as a senior. We always say, the magic is only in the work, right? Like for him to go out there and perform the way he did, defending John Poulikitis from Yale, being a confident 3-point shooter who made some plays off the bounce, who can be a really good cutter and a slasher for us. Lindell is a great example of we want what we want our program to be about. Didn't play a ton as a freshman or sophomore, and then was ready when his opportunity came. He earned it, and he's making the most of it.
Mike, it always seems like Tommy has, at least the last couple of years, a first-year player that will make an impact, or a player or two that comes right into the program and makes an impact. How much is that recruiting, and how much do you feel like with Tommy and his staff it is, they right away bring players in that, fit what they do that can make an impact?
Yeah, I think it's both, Nick. I think they do a terrific job in recruiting really talented student athletes. Robert Hinton had his choice of suitors from every level of college basketball. Chose Harvard. He's got an older brother at Cornell, who's a good player for Cornell. Comes from the famed Harvard Westlake program, where Landon Lewis also played. Great high school coach, so you knew he was going to be ready. He was going to be prepared, and he's hit the ground running. 27 in their first game, win over Marist, and the good thing for them and for him is he's got veterans he can lean on. He's got Evan Nelson at the point who started games in his career until he had the season-ending injury last year. He's got PJ and Batiz and Louis Lesman, who are all experienced returning starters. So he's a terrific talent. They've got a few really good freshmen, and they've integrated him pretty well with their returning players. And they play like you would expect from a Harvard team since Tommy's been there. Really hard. At both ends of the court, very unselfishly and very fundamentally sound, and they're tough and they're gritty.
I mean, you've also in the Ivy League obviously you have back-to-backs, Fridays, Saturdays, but you were joking about it, but the uniqueness of playing Harvard at home and then having to go to Cornell, just how challenging is that in terms of just finding the time to prepare for that next game, but also, getting there and playing the game too.
Yeah, it's a challenge, especially when you watch the way Cornell plays. The second game of that back-to-back this weekend. The good news is we haven't played since Saturday, so we've had some time earlier in the week to address what we need to do to be ready for Monday, and now everything is focused on what we need to do Saturday. So we have a plan for what we need to do Saturday against Harvard, and then we'll more than and we have a huge amount of respect for both opponents, but more than anything, we've got to play like us. We've got to play to our identity for 40 minutes. And that's been the message loud and clear throughout the week. Our guys have responded in a great way. And today and tomorrow, we'll have 2 great days of prep to get ready for a really good Harvard team.
Mike, I'll preface this by saying that I like the fact that you guys play a tough non-conference. I think that's the only way that you can get better. I wonder what the balance point is between that and trying to stay in the habit of actually winning games and getting used to that feeling.
It's a great question. Sometimes you're at the mercy of your opponents when they want to play you, right? So, like, obviously, we haven't had a Division I win since we played URI here on December 10th. Now, we've only played 3 Division I games in that stretch. So it's not like, it's a long drought, but it's a point well taken. Like, we're going to try to, it just so happened that the 2 times we had an opportunity to play against Power 4 programs this year were right before Christmas and right after Christmas. And, we know what we're capable of. We see, we're very much process driven as opposed to result driven. We know there's a scoreboard, but at the end of the day, if we see our process, playing out the way we want it to in practice and in games, we're not going to get too caught up in the result if we're playing the right way. And that's, again, why I was even down 3 with 8 minutes to go against Yale. We were disappointed with our process. We didn't think we played great, and we've seen what it can do earlier in the year, and I have no doubt that our players will get back to that pretty quickly.
In a typical Ivy League season, I feel like no team really loses ground until they lose a game at home or 2 at home. So just how important is it to protect Pizzatola Center this weekend?
Really important on Saturday. Yeah, we, obviously our home record in that last year was not good, and we had to really make up for it with a great road record. But, if you're going to try to win a championship, you have to protect home court, and then you got to win some games on the road too. So, no better time than Saturday to, kind of continue what's been a fairly good home court advantage for us this year. 5-2 through 7 games, couple tough early losses that we'd love to have back, but, have had some good wins at home too.
Mike, you've got Harvard next. It seems like every time you guys play, it's down to the wire, a close game. I think the past 4 times have been decided by like 3 points or fewer. What is it about these two programs that, play such competitive games against each other?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it goes back to my first year. Like, when Tommy had, he had four straight NCAA tournament teams. He had, 7 out of 8 or 7 out of 9 Ivy League championship teams. And even then we were, first game we played them up there, it was a double overtime loss. We had it seems like if there's someone we've played in overtime more than them, I'd be shocked. I really don't think that's the case over the, past 10, 12 seasons. I think it's just, the league, every game is so critical, every game's so intense, and it seems like no lead is safe. We were up big in both games last year and had to hold them off up there. And then obviously Keno needed to bail us out late here, to even force overtime. So we expect a great challenge, and they're very familiar with us. We're very familiar with them, and you're always going to see when you play against a team coached by Tommy, you're going to see a team that again shows the qualities I talked about early. Great effort, great energy, unselfish play, fundamentally sound at both ends.